Hey, my friend, Sunny Dawn Johnston here, author of Invoking the Archangels, a 9-step process to heal your body, mind, and soul, and creator of Soul Food with Sunny. I am talking about your story today. And not just your story, but learning and loving your past. Learning to accept who you've been, where you've been, what you've done, and not even accept it. Let's expand that into even just love it. Love and appreciate everything that's come before you, before this moment, right now, today. Does that feel difficult? Does it feel like that's a lot of work to really get into that place? Or are you in a place where maybe it doesn't feel as difficult anymore, but you feel a little bit guilty, like, gosh, if I let go of that guilt, then I feel guilty about letting go of the guilt. Is that possible? Or maybe you identify so much with your past that you're not really even sure who you are and what your purpose is now. Maybe you've identified so much with who you've been in the past that you don't know who you are now, in order to be able to look back and go, that's who I was and this is who I am, and be able to love all of it. All of it. So I don't think that there's a line that one day we cross and we go, all right, I'm fine, everything's cool. I don't think that happens. I think it's a process of healing and awareness and insight and openness and authenticity and transparency and connectedness and communication and willingness and support. There's so many pieces to being able to appreciate and love your past. And I guess what I would tell you is there's no great way to start. You just start. There's no one thing to do. Besides, if you can wrap your head around this statement, I think this is the best place to start. It's what worked for me. And that was, well, there's two statements. The first one is, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. So that's the first one. The second one is, the universe is working for you and your highest good. Everything is happening for you, not to you. See, to you would be, I'm a victim of this circumstance or situation. For you would be, this is an opportunity to expand and grow. And you could be on either side of that fence. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, that's rose-colored glasses, and sometimes just shit happens. You can think everything is working for you and still feel like sometimes shit happens. You can still not like the situations, get frustrated with the energy that's manifesting, the feelings that are happening, the circumstances around you. You can be frustrated as hell and still have a deep belief that things are happening for you, and have your moments of frustration and anger and upset and sadness and all of those things. It's not denying those feelings, but it's saying, at some point, I get to make a choice on how I choose to feel about this. And I could be angry and hateful and resentful and project it onto everybody around me, or I could say and feel, more importantly, if this is happening for me, then how can I move forward in love? If this is happening for me, then how can I learn from this experience and expand into even greater awareness of love? If this is happening for me, you don't even have to say it is. You can even just say, if it were, then what might I be learning? And if you can start from that perspective, things start to shift. You start feeling more at ease. I don't think life gets so as scary. I know that's how it was for me anyway. So loving your past, what does that look like? Well, I think it's looking at your story and realizing that it's a story that we created, maybe we even designed, that has gotten us to where we are in this very moment, right now. I am talking to you and you are listening to me, and we are in alignment together right now. You may not even agree, but we have an energetic connection right now as I'm speaking and you're listening. And every single thing that's happened needed to happen the way that it did to get you to this place right now. And everything that's happened in my world and in my life needed to happen the way that it did to get me to this place right now. And even if in this moment your life is sucking, and I understand that could be possible, then at least you are searching, you are opening yourself up, because if you're watching this, you've made an agreement to expand and to grow, to create some healing, to move forward, or you wouldn't be watching it. So that is a difference from whatever your story's been, whatever shit's happened in your life, to where you are today, simply because you're making that choice. The way that I began to love my past was truly, honestly, looking at all of the gifts that were hidden in the packages that were not so beautifully wrapped. You know what I mean by that? Finding the gift underneath the pain. Finding the blessing inside of the anger. Feeling the appreciation under the desperation. And as I started to search for those feelings, appreciation and gratitude, blessings, gifts, I started seeing more of them. Now, when I was in my pain and in my blame and in my shame, I saw a lot of those. But it was an external awareness that I needed to make a change. And then an internal decision that I am so sick and tired of feeling this way. I'm so sick and tired of blaming everybody around me. And as long as I'm blaming them, they have all my power. So I am so tired of that. I want something new, and I want something different, and I want something now. And the only thing that I knew to do, and what I was really honestly guided to do, was literally start finding the blessings. Like writing down the pain and writing down what the opposite of that could be positive might be. Some of them I didn't even know. I was just making shit up because I just knew I needed to find a way to see it differently. And then as I started to do that, it really started feeling different to me. Like it started to resonate with me. And I would recognize, gosh, I am so grateful that car accident happened, because it really created an awareness for me of how important it is for me to know that I have a spare tire, because I never knew I had a spare tire in the back of my car. I am so grateful. So I learned, right? I am so grateful that this experience of being in the hospital after having my son and having a miraculous healing, and how much that shifted me in my belief of my own worthiness and value, and how grateful I was for that. Instead of being angry, I could have sued doctors. I could have done a lot of things. I was just grateful. I'm alive. I was grateful that I didn't have any serious repercussions from a stroke. I was just appreciative. Instead of looking for blame, I took the responsibility and in the responsibility recognized, wow, I have so much to be grateful for. So when we're thinking about how to love your past, number one, I think it's a decision. And I'm going to find a way to love my past. Number two, it's to start letting go of the story we've told and begin to tell a new story. Tell it in a different way. So when I share different stories in my life, I share them to create connection because I want people to know I've been there. But when in my own personal life, if I'm just walking through my journey, there are very few people that would ever know any of my history. And the reason that is there's no point in talking. Like I don't have any connection to it. Negative history. I don't have any connection to it any longer. First of all, I'm so busy creating and being in this moment and where I am and living my life, I don't have time to talk about the past. But if I do talk about the past, it's what I've learned, it's how I've grown, it's how many things happened that caused me to expand, and I have complete gratitude and appreciation for it. And if you could just flip that switch a little bit, just flip it a little bit, you start to see things through those eyes. And when you start to see things through eyes of appreciation, then the things you see appreciate. When you start to see things through eyes of beauty, then the things that you look at are more beautiful. Everything expands, whatever it is. If you're looking at it from a negative point of view, that's going to expand too. It's just a natural law. So my suggestion for those of you that struggle to love your past is, number one, recognize we all have one. Number two, begin to flip that. Start looking at that from a different perspective. What is the gift? What is the blessing? What have you learned? What can you appreciate? What can you take home from it? Number three is let go of the old story, the negative story. Make it a positive story. The positive story is, like literally, write out your negative story, then write out your positive story. It's the same story, just tell it in a way that shifts the energy, shifts the vibration, and shifts the perspective. And then eventually you get to a place where you go, you know what, I am so happy that everything happened the way that it did because it brought me today to you in this moment, and I am forever grateful for the ability to be able to connect with you, to be able to offer you some opportunities, some awareness, some insight, some connection. And that is my purpose work right now in this moment, and I'm grateful for that. And I know if you begin to look deeply at some of the experiences in your life, you will find gratitude, appreciation, miraculous insight and awarenesses that help you to let go of your past and learn to love it for what it is. It's a beautiful, beautiful gift. And it often shows us how far we have come. Thank you, my friends. Hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, create peace, love, and light. Good night.